Finally, my very own copy of Demon's Crest. God, was it pricey online, but it's certainly worth having. Time to play this game. Wait, where is it? What the hell? Where is my Super Nintendo? Where is it? Who stole it?
D, where's my vest?
What do I know? I have my own. Didn't I only take your money?
I have had something stolen from me too. Yeah!
Okay, remind me, Key. How does me and Golden wearing dresses help us to get my vest back?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the dresses are necessary. And my SNES. Seriously, if I figure out who took it, this pony is gonna get to feel the fox. Did I seriously just say that?
Yes, you did. And like I said, if we're going to solve this mystery, we must be dressed for a mystery. And you guys said no to dressing like Velma and Daphne, so this is where we are. Besides, these outfits look good. I learned from the best.
You've learned from Rarity Investigates.
Gee, I wonder how coincidental it is to talk about this episode at a time we've been thieved.
So, are we going to talk?
Might as well.
Ladies first then?
Exactly. You go first, Goldie.
Wow, I'm touched, babe. Wow, seriously? Anyway, yes, Rarity Investigates. A detective-esque episode that picks up right after Canterlot Boutique. Nice continuity there. While a very flawed episode, it is entertainingly stylish that'll remind you of Sherlock Holmes, The Great Mouse Detective, Carmen Sandiego, and any recognized mystery title that you can think of at the top of your head. And jazz. Lots and lots of jazz. And since this is a mystery story, I can only imagine who would be behind such a scheme.
Can't believe I still hold the record.
Windrider, I see you met Rainbow Dash. She's one of our most promising reserves. She just might beat your record.
Why would any pony want that?
Maybe, so they could take her spot.
Yes, I really wonder who's behind the scheme. Let's break it down with the top 5 yay and nays.
Why do I seem to be incapable of ever escaping them?
Hey, ever since I wanted to collab with you, I wanted to do this.
Number 5.
Nay!
So, we get to see a lot of Wonderbolts in this episode. However, for some weird reason, the only familiar Wonderbolts present are Spitfire and Thorian. What about Fleetfoot? What about the guys from Secret of My Excess? Instead, we get those new random faces.
It also doesn't help that the size of the Wonderbolts has multiplied like bunnies in heat. Seriously, it doesn't make sense how in this episode, how with all these Wonderbolts, that Dash is the only replacement. I mean, why can't one of the bolts do double duty like Spitfire Recolor 0928?
Damn!
It's been shown in previous seasons that there were so little character puppets to work with, which I found to be passable. But with the recent episodes, and not to mention the years of the show's airing, we've seen different character designs that were taken away from the norm, which I found to be a nice welcome. But here, you mean to tell me that you couldn't find a different character of its own design and instead be a recolored Spitfire? Not only is this lazy, but it may confuse some young viewers, mistaking her for Spitfire. You could say what you want about Princess Spike, but at least that episode had various character designs, period. Now, this is only small potatoes, as you can tell it being at number 5, but it's still worth pointing out.
Number 5.
Yay.
Continuity. This show, as we see from Winter being an episode long, Heartswarming apparently taking place before Nightmare Nights, and secondary characters changing their feelings towards ponies at the drop of a hat. or a page in a book. Thank you, Season 7. We are lucky if we ever have any semblance of continuity in this show.
It's nice to show the progression of this series, and it's no exception that this episode does that job well by showing Sassy Saddles as we remember from Cantaloupe Boutique, and that Dash is a part of the reserve team. Before Newbie Dash. But it's a good nod to the viewers in that the writers haven't forgotten what there was in the past. I could be asking for too much, but I always love it when continuity is played in the series.
Number 4. Well, how to put it classy. Those 3 guards are a disgrace. They screw up watching over a wing that only contains 2 rooms, because they all needed to indulge in gluttony at the same time. Not to mention that they apparently suck at armor maintenance, because all 3 of them managed to disable the enchantment that makes all the royal guards look the same.
Has this theory actually been confirmed as canon yet?
No, but all bronies agree on it, so it is as good as canon. And it gives me another reason to go all British rent on those 3 wankers.
Yeah, I don't expect these guards to get any punishment because, you know, the guards suck. Here's how this would work in real life.
I'll handle this.
The hell? Firebrand, what are you...
Just let this happen. Oh, that felt good. By the way, you look hideous.
Why, thank you, Josh. You're such a gentleman. What? Stallions are not supposed to wear mare's clothing.
How'd he even get in here?
For that matter, why does he sound so echo-ish? I think I left my door open again.
You know, you really shouldn't be surprised things get stolen from you.
Number 4.
Yay!
Rarity!
Oh no, she's shipping again.
Oh yeah, she's shipping again!
Oh snap, there's a ship that's sailing again.
Not shipping, episodes! Besides, I ship more Quibble Dash these days. We haven't had a proper Rarity and Rainbow Dash episode since Season 1 with Sonic Rainboom. And even then, Rarity was reduced to a mere joke in XP for getting too caught up in yourself. And it's a damn shame too, because I really enjoy these 2 interactions and how their personalities differ from each other, even more so than Rarijack. So it's very nice to see these 2 actually have extended time with each other, especially with Rainbow as the foil to Rarity's antics. Speaking of which, cue mystery music.
Agreed. Rarity Jack is overrated anyways. Far too obvious. Then again, we get barely any good Rarity shipping at all. I hardly know any good fictions featuring those 2. Wait, what was the point again?
It's nice to get a different set of characters from the norm. I'm not sure on how these 2 would work out, but it's done well here, and can only be debatable for a future episode.
Jinkies! I found something! Some black fibers, possibly from a vest. This mystery is getting deeper and deeper. We need to go to the scene of the crime!
We
need to go to the other scene of the crime!
So, A and Y. Brown OC, gray background. Not a fan of color, I take it?
Well, I have a thing for subtlety. How about you, Mr. Neon-colored Pegasus?
Heyo!
Oh, hon, you are one to talk.
Excuse me?
Number 3. Okay, I am aware that this is an established character trait of Rarity that has been there since Season 1. But I was never really a fan of it, and if I recall correctly, many people agreed with me there when it was put into the spotlight during Putting Your Hoof Down. Rarity's seductive attitude towards stallions in order to get her will. You see, it is fine for a character to have a recurring weakness like Rainbow Dash boasting. However, those are usually also presented as vices within the show. Whenever Rarity manipulates a stallion with her feminine charm, it gets depicted as a strength, as a great talent. So yeah, the package delivery stallion here could have been a bit more helpful since apparently his company screwed up, but does he really deserve to be sent home blue-balled like this? And no, Rarity, you did not just make him a compliment, you went all flirty-touchy and then slammed the door shut as soon as he left. You are a horrible tease, and that's a trait I also dislike outside of MLP. And the thought that this kind of behavior repeatedly gets presented as a strong female way to get what she wants in a show aiming for little girls, that really worries me.
Wowie.
Oh, that's nothing compared to what I have to say about the Wonderbolts.
But we'll get to that later. Yes, Rarity's techniques may be questionable, but Rarity overall,
Number 3.
Yay!
she was amazing! Rarity is my second favorite pony of the main 6 behind Pinkie Pie and Starlight. And it's for episodes like this. She has such a great dichotomy to her character that just shines so brightly in this episode. One minute, she can be a contemplative and serious pony, using her skills as a designer and artist to detect the smallest details, to being a very funny and witty mare. Out of the 3 episodes in this Rarity bomb that happened, this one, I think, has the best characterization of her. It is so easy to make Rarity egotistic, stereotypically girly, or just a downright diva. But this episode did it just right. Minus the points from Mr. German Chocolate Beefcake a moment ago.
Agreed. After that initial scene in the beginning, I had a great time watching her antics for the rest of the episode.
It's no surprise whenever Rarity is talked about. She's been a beloved character for the reasons Keyframe explained. But while she was at her best in this episode, I love that she put her hoof down and Canter La Petite as an important role in her character arc. But with that said, while she can approach herself very well, I still think she has more screen time for development than the other characters including Twilight. But I'll not go on the deep end on that, since this is a positive trait we're talking about here. Just something I needed to point it out. Speaking of...
Number 2.
Wonderbolts. I've started growing a grudge on these douchebags, especially after Newbie Dash, who I keep getting argued maliciously at. While I see that they have their intent by the standards of the military, their approach is coming off as off-putting and somehow getting under my skin. After Rainbow Falls and Top Bolt, I have lost so much respect for them, and it hurts because of having so much hope for them as they're a part of Dash's character arc. It was a major motivation watching the series as an identity of story structure than just slice of life. In this episode, they take to extreme lengths on Dash on behalf of what she's accused of, despite that she's been with them from time to time and wouldn't make such commitments. They're immediately quick to judge without a second thought and threaten Dash to be removed. Being cautious of their branch is one thing, but they need to inspect first before they can jump the bandwagon.
Now, the Wonderbolts are the most inconsistently written set of characters in this show, so them being written like this isn't too far off in my mind. But given they provide all the tension for this episode, I can't argue that this lackluster presentation of them isn't getting tiresome.
One thing especially about this episode neither of you have touched on so far is the dissonance between the presentation of the Wonderbolts and what they actually do. Here we have Soaring pushing Rainbow with her back to the wall and looking all threatening, but what does he actually say? He suspended her for the time being, and he only threatened to kick her off the Wonderbolts if it turns out she is guilty of Spitfire's disappearance. Given Windrider's rather sloppy execution of his great plan of framing Rainbow, I highly doubt that would have ever happened anyways. But my point is, while the Wonderbolts get presented as if they were about to tear Rainbow apart, their actually behavior was reasonable. It puts an unnecessary antagonistic light on them as a group, and I don't really see why this is necessary except for upping the drama artificially.
But I just repeated my point.
Stop the presses, every pony! I found something!
Your sanity?
Nope! Even better! Another clue! Hair from a red mane! So, there's only one more place to investigate. To the gallery!
So, is your channel the gallery or do you live here?
Details.
I like it here. It's roomy. So, on a lighter note...
Number 2.
Yay!
A better mystery presentation, story-wise, and subtle visual clues. The presentation for the detective story is done very well here. Unlike Mystery on the Friendship Express, no, I'm not emphasizing that end part, this episode displays a lot of clues of who is behind the scheme rather than revealing them all together at the end of the story. This was an issue I took with Mystery because it never gave us the chance to guess who the culprit was before the conclusion. Here, though, it gives us time for us to piece everything together as if we're a part of the mystery with what the detective is doing and what the overall build-up is.
What the fox said.
You asshole.
No, seriously. The way how the clues like the loose curtain or the too clean-cut lock of rainbow-colored hair are actually visible right there for the attentive viewer to recognize, but only get addressed later, allows the viewers to actually solve the mystery alongside the characters. And that's exactly the right way to do this kind of episode.
To me, Mystery and Rarity Investigates are two examples of different types of mystery film archetypes, with Mystery being a whodunit story complete with various cutaways and overblown scenarios, and this episode being a film noir with everything based on dialogue and how each character acts. While I enjoy both episodes, I do think the portrayal of this genre is much more refined here than in Season 2. However, despite all the praise we can give the build-up throughout Act 1 and 2, Act 3 had to bring...
Number 1.
It's extremely predictable! Seriously, from the moment I saw Wind Rider introduce himself and talking about his untouched records, I knew from the start that he'd get behind something, and it also doesn't help his case when he's the one quickly accusing Rainbow Dash at a later scene. That alone makes the guilt so much more apparent that it unfortunately undermines the build-up suspense and everything number 2 Ye has. I know I said in my review of Appaloosa's Most Wanted that it's the journey that matters the most, whether a story is predictable or not. Except in a detective story, you're supposed to be left guessing. But why bother guessing who's behind the act when you already know who the culprit is from the very beginning?
It doesn't help how much they tried to push it being Rainbow Dash in the meta sense to the point that they literally changed his muzzle shape in one of the flashbacks. Also, listen to his voice.
She had a really deep, raspy voice.
What do you mean, raspy?
Well, kind of like yours.
I thought if I could get Rainbow Dash kicked out of the Wonderbolts forever, my record would be preserved.
Yeah, even though it's raspy, can you really imagine him doing a spot-on imitation of Rainbow Dash? He had bad guy written all over his pilot's coat, which I really want. It looks nice.
It is really such a shame. Why, DHX? You did such a great job with the subtle hints, but then again, you guys pretty much already mentioned everything. That's why I hate being the last sharing my insights. So I call dibs on the final one.
Number 1.
Even if you're not a big fan of noir as a genre, you're probably familiar with its tropes, motives and themes. And in Rarity Investigate we got a bunch of those, from the camera angles, to the play of light and shadow, to the black and white coloring, and to the narration. You got all of them here. In addition, we also got some entertaining little moments where the producers have some fun playing with those themes, like when Rarity accidentally narrates her in a monologue out loud and ponies react to it.
Agreed. I'll admit I am a sucker for whenever shows do a shift in the art direction to portray a theme or trope. This episode not only used the colors well, constantly switching from black and white to normal scheme, as well as a few moments of color isolation, but the character animation in this episode was really something to look at. Yeah, it's not the most action-packed episode, but the expressions that Rarity and Rainbow give in the interrogation scene alone makes this episode worth it. The team really stepped up their games this season with what they can do with the puppet rigs and camera angles, like the wide shot when Rarity and Rainbow Dash are walking in the rain. Also, nice touch with the mute in the trumpet. You get brownie points from me.
I love the dress designs in this episode. They all could have been trench coats with fedoras, but they decided to take it to a further route and stylize the outfits. There's more to a fashion of a detective story than you'd expect. This alone makes me appreciate the episode over its utterly predictable nature that was going for it. Despite how critical I was, it's still a very gorgeous episode and possibly one of the most beautiful episodes in Season 5. So not all hope is lost, and it's certainly not boring either. So I still recommend this episode regardless.
Definitely my favorite Rarity episode from Season 5, that's for sure. While it may not have the most substance compared to the other episodes, the style and comedy really made this a fun watch. I really hope we can see the pairing of Dashy and Rarity again soon too, to this level of good, because they do have a chemistry that is not seen by the other main 6 pairings. I can understand others not liking an episode that could put you in a loop, but it's definitely a nice piece of eye candy to have in the middle of the Rarity bomb.
For me personally, it was a nice to look at flick, but at the same time also another one of those season 5 episodes that didn't leave much of a lasting impression. It is very playful, visually impressive, and if the conclusion wouldn't have been so obvious, it actually would have had a really good investigate-along mystery for the younger audience. But at the end of the day, Rarity Investigates is not going to get a spot in my Pony Hall of Fame.
So, any clues you found, babe?
Nope, no clues. No clues at all.
What? You found clues in every other place, like ANY's vest fibers in my channel.
And Golden's hair in mine.
Wait, how could it have been my hair? I've never been on your channel.
And I have never been to yours. Wait, your hair isn't curly.
And it's not even in the right shade. It's more of a cherry color.
Well, I know what this looks like, and, it's probably what you're imagining.
I guess I shouldn't be that surprised.
Why, babe? Why?
Well, I didn't know who I wanted to go out with today, so I thought it'd be a great idea to take your stuff while you slept.
What?
With the keys I stole from your apartments.
Makes sense.
And started this whole mystery so we can have a whole day together. Then I wouldn't have to choose, and we had a lot of fun, and we made content, and I think we had a lot of net gain today, right? And it was also fun to have you guys wear dresses around the rift.
This is going in the blackmail box.
And I got away with it too, thanks to you adorable analysts. Why are you looking at me like that?
So, are you going to make her feel the fox now?
I only made that up. But now that you mention it...
I'm not complaining, but how does this keep happening?
Animalistic attraction.
Seriously, guys, how did I get involved again?
Murphy's Law. Don't ask how, it just is.
2 more?
Well, let the fan fictions commence.
Help me.